Good Sunday evening, everybody. Well, technically it's Monday morning now. I'm getting ready to go to bed. It's 12:40 a.m. But anyway, welcome to the Steelers Game Day postgame. So I'm Mason Sapesky, your host here today. I will try to be as quick as possible. I didn't watch the Steelers game today, so as you probably knew from the pregame, so we were in Detroit for the Lions game. I do have some videos from that, like from the end of it, because it was a very exciting ending. That's for sure. So I will try to get those up. I'll have to review them first before I post them. Sorry to burp. If I elect, just drink some water. But if I like to post those, I'll have to review those first. But all I got to see today of the Steelers were highlights. Definitely a tough loss for sure, tough pill to swallow. Steelers lost today 13-10 to the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. I'll describe the game flow first before I get into my recap. For sure. Hang on, I have to sneeze. Alright, that's done and over. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, though, first off, the game started with Jerome Ford scoring a touchdown for Cleveland, gave them a 7-0 lead. Then right before halftime, Browns kicked a field goal, took a 10-0 lead. Definitely a defensive game for sure. We all knew this would be a defensive game. But it definitely was 10-0 going into halftime. Right to be in the second half, though, Jalen Warren had an amazing 75-yard touchdown rush. This made it a 10-7 game. Steelers continued to play good defense, held the Browns, even got a pick off of Dwayne Thompson-Robinson, DTR, the quarterback for Cleveland. Boswell kicked a field goal, made it 10-10. And then Cleveland got the ball back at the very end, drove the field, kicked the game-winning field goal to win this game by a final score of 10-10. As a result of this game, the Browns now move into second place in the AFC North with 7-3 record. Steelers fall to third place at 6-5. Baltimore's first. They're likely going to win the division. Cleveland does have a nice team, but I don't think they have enough, especially with DTR a quarterback. So yeah, he barely did enough to win today. So a couple quick takes on this one. I just want to say before I get ready to wrap it up, go to bed. But just a couple of quick takes, and I just want to say real quick, at the very end, we'll talk about what I think's best for the Steelers for the future and in terms of improving the offense and just improving the team as a whole. But first things first, I just want to discuss Kenny Pickett because I know he's under a lot of scrutiny right now and a lot of heat. So I think it's important to discuss him. He might not be the franchise quarterback we all hoped for. In fact, he might not even be the franchise quarterback at all. But let's compliment him on something good he did do today. Cleveland's defense has been a turnover machine this year. They got a pick six off Lamar Jackson to make that game competitive last week. Had a pick off Clayton Tune. I know it's Clayton Tune, but still had a pick. Owned a lot of teams. I mean, they've played competitive. I mean, even Geno, I think they got an interception off of him. I think they got turnovers off the Colts. Sorry to burp again. Even like San Francisco, but we didn't turn the ball over at all today. So that's important, and that's a really good thing. So that's huge. So credit to Kenny Pickett for sure for not throwing any interceptions this game. I mean, that should be the expectation. Every game he doesn't throw a pick, but let's look at it this way. He does not turn the ball over. I mean, people don't think he's good enough and all that, but I think he has the least amount of turnovers in the NFL or something like that. So, and that's important. He does not turn the ball over at all. So, yeah. I mean, he might not be electric like a Mahomes or Josh Allen, or he might not be a franchise quarterback, but one thing is certain. He's not going to be a quarterback that turns the ball over a million times. And that's a good thing. Because at least, if you're not turning the ball over, that keeps your offense out longer and your defense on the bench and rested. And I just want to say first off, I feel awful for that defense. They played their rear ends off every game. I mean, look today, they only allowed 13 points. 1 touchdown the whole game. And we still lost. Most times when you only allow 13 points, you win the football game. Yeah. So I feel horrible for this defense. The fact that they were put in the situation they were 2 times the last 2 games and this week. At this point, I don't know what to say about the defense. They got to be better. There's no doubt about it. I mean, in all honesty, a lot of Steeler fans are upset, and I don't blame them. I'm upset too. And maybe I'm not reacting as much or as angry because I didn't watch the game. I only saw 10 minutes of highlights. But here's the thing. And this is what's so screwy with Pittsburgh. Year in and year out. And it caught up to New England. It catches up to every team, but it hasn't caught up yet to Pittsburgh. These quarterbacks that are good in this year's class: Caleb Williams, Drake May, Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr. Hopefully Jordan Travis gets better soon. Prayers up for Jordan Travis. Hopefully he heals and gets better quickly so that he can be in that conversation too. Because what he did at Florida State was really good. Carson Beck, if he declares, I really like him a lot. My 2 favorites out of that mix are May and Penix Jr. But here's the thing about these guys. They're projected to be high draft picks. Not so much Nix or Penix Jr. But Williams and May, the guys everybody is saying they're the dream. They're projected to be top 10 picks. Pittsburgh will never pick in the top 10 because of the whole no losing season thing. And that philosophy only gets you so far. Look, I know the goal of this organization is to win division titles, conference championships, and Super Bowls every year. Every team right now wants to do what Kansas City and Philadelphia are doing. That is every single team in the league's goal. However, there is a certain way to get there. Sure, Kansas City may not have gone there the conventional way, but they did find a way to get there. And it goes back to 2013. Chiefs were horrible. They fired Todd Haley, who was our old offensive coordinator, as their head coach. Philly, that same offseason, the Eagles fired Andy Reid as their head coach, which I don't know if that was the smartest move now looking back. Kansas City hired him. Scott Pioli hired him. And that's when everything turned. They got Alex Smith a couple years later. They drafted Travis Kelce in 2013 out of the University of Cincinnati. And then things started to turn around real fast. Then Brett Veach, when he took over, or he was either an assistant, hype assistant, or the GM, he found Mahomes, recognized something special in him. Picked him, traded Smith to Washington, put Mahomes in there, and that's when it all paid off. And don't say those early years were because of Tyreek Hill. Yes, he was a big deal, but the year after he got traded this year, or in 2022, he gets traded to Miami. Kansas City has no wilds. They got to win a Super Bowl. Mahomes is talented, and he truly has people making the most out of his talents in Andy Reid. Buffalo, they were not very good all those years, and they got those picks to go out and get Allen and Diggs. Cincy, they were bad. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I better go to bed. Cincy, they weren't very good. They got out Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase out of two good picks, and they're probably going to get a good pick this year, which stinks for Pittsburgh. Bottom San Francisco, they were bad all those years. They got playmakers. Philly had one bad year. Got some good picks, made some aggressive, good moves to Howie Roseman. Look at where they are. Detroit was bad a year. Rebuilt that roster well. Good coaching, good GM. Look at where they are. Seattle, I mean, they did what's right. Bottom line is this. You gotta try new things in life. Trial and error. Yes, you're gonna make errors. Everybody does. I mean, look at Philly. Their errors cost them. For sure. And this is where the draft is so important. 2020 NFL Draft. The Eagles had the 21st pick. They selected Jalen Reagor out of TCU. Guess who was still on the board? Justin Jefferson out of LSU. The Eagles had the chance to get Justin Jefferson and Jalen Hurts in the same draft. And I'm sure Howie Roseman, the GM of that team, is probably still regretting that every day. And I would be too, because here's why. If Justin Jefferson is an Eagle, Jalen Hurts is an Eagle, and they have that offense, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Justin Jefferson, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, whoever the running back was, Miles Sanders, and that line. I think if they draft Jefferson over Reagor, that Super Bowl last year has a totally different outcome. Jefferson would have been the playmaker that could have flipped that game from Kansas City to Philly. It wasn't anything that happened in the game, I believe, that cost them. It was that one draft pick made in 2020 that decided that Super Bowl. So your draft picks matter. And that's what makes it hard. So yeah, I mean, it's tough. But point being is, if you're always stuck in the high teens, low 20s, you're never going to get anybody special. And you're going to keep going at that rate. The best thing the Steelers can do this offseason is dismiss Matt Canada's offensive coordinator. Do not promote from within. Hire somebody outside the organization, because this is your most consequential hire. And possibly look into a new quarterback if Kenny Pickett and the team missed the playoffs. And I get the Rooneys like to take care of their own. I do too. And I think it's a great thing, taking care of your own. However, the past couple promotions from within have not worked out. And I think it's time we go back to something that will work. For instance, here's what I don't think would be a bad idea. Pickett's offensive coordinator from Pitt, Mark Whipple, is unemployed right now. If they hired an OC, and I'm not saying hire Whipple as OC, I don't know if that would be a good thing. I will discuss that when I do candidate previews, but here's why. I think you should bring in an OC, like Ken Dorsey, or even Byron Leftwich, somebody who knows offenses and can make something work, and then have them bring in Whipple as a special assistant for quarterbacks, just like you do with Canada. Have him working in this role that Canada is working with him. Have him in a role tailored to Pickett, like directly with Pickett. where he can advise him and just be there and work with him. And if Pickett does not show drastic improvement between 2023 and 2024, even with Whipple on the sideline, then yes, it is time for a change. If you have Dorsey as OC and Whipple's a special assistant to quarterbacks, with a new O-line coach and a couple new other coaches, because we probably do need a new cornerbacks coach too, then I think things will work out. However, if you bring in Whipple and Kenny Pickett still fails, then it's time for a new quarterback. But bringing in Kenny or bringing in Whipple will help Kenny. It should. And you'll truly find out the answer. You can't really find out much with Canada. You just can't. He was I was so happy when they hired him for the role they hired him for in 2019 or 20. He's just not cut out to be an offensive coordinator in this NFL. Everybody has said he is the biggest problem. I don't think our receiving core needs improved. I liked it. I mean, you have George Pickens, who can be elite, Deontay Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, and Calvin Austin. They could get Darnell Washington and Calvin Austin so much more involved than they currently are. Those two are not getting enough reps. Pickens is not getting enough reps. That comes back to the OC. And remember in 2020, when we were beating teams that were not very good by big scores? 2021, we didn't do that. There was no quarterback change. That was still Big Ben. It's all the offensive coordinator. So I think he's public enemy number one. And I can see the heat towards Pickett. It does truly put this team between a rock and a hard place. What to do with Kenny Pickett. 100%. It puts me between a rock and a hard place. What I think they should do with Kenny Pickett. You just invested in him early. You invested in him way earlier than you should have. The one thing I hold against Kenny Pickett is this. It was awful. This was probably the biggest sin that the organization has made in a long time. The fact that they let Kevin Colbert pick the next franchise QB when they already knew he was stepping down as GM. They should have told him that we're going to hire a GM before the draft and let them do this. We knew from all along that it was more than likely that Omar Khan was going to be promoted to this role. And Omar Khan ultimately was promoted to this role, and it was probably one of the best things the team has ever done. And he truly is behind a modern aspect of this team. The question is, and I think a lot of Steelers fans are going to ask this question, and I don't blame them. How much more, or how much of a role did Omar Khan have in selecting Kenny Pickett as the franchise quarterback? Did he have a large role? Or did he have a small one? How much of a role did Mike Tomlin have in this? How much of a role did Art Rooney have in this? If it was everybody, if it was 25% this one, 25% that one, 25% the other two, then I would imagine he'll stay one more year because they all like him. Sorry, it's a burp again. I just drank that water. But anyway, though, if it was mostly Colbert and the other three were just passengers along for the car ride, I don't believe he'd stay. So that's what it comes down to. But Andy Weidel, the assistant GM, who was not with the Steelers when they picked Pickett, still with Philadelphia, was part of the Eagles front office that at the time in 2020 drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round. Now, you probably all remember, Eagles had Carson Wentz as their quarterback. In the second round of the 2020 NFL draft, the team picked Jalen Hurts. This move drew so much criticism from the fans, it wasn't even funny. It worked out so much for the better of the team. The question is, how much or what kind of philosophy, and hopefully Andy Weidel stays so that he can help with this. How much of a role did he have, or how much did he know in terms of that decision? Hopefully a lot. And I do truly believe he did have a lot of say. So hopefully they can advise us on what made Philly make that decision, and hopefully we can make what decision we believe is best for us at that point, whether it be keep Kenny or draft somebody else. I don't know what to do. I don't have an opinion on what to do. This front office is amazing. I mean, Omar Khan and Andy Weidel are probably the best front office in the NFL. They've done so much to improve this team, and I'm truly thankful and grateful for all they've done to improve this team. They've only been around one draft and one full off season. You've got to give things time. Like they always say, Rome wasn't built in a day. But the second part was, but they were laying bricks every hour. And I truly do believe that's what this front office is doing. They just need to clean up some stuff and put the finishing touches on it. And don't get me wrong, I do believe they're laying bricks every hour. Look at the players they're bringing in. Look at the guys they're making decisions on. They are, Omar Khan and Andy Weidel, they are truly doing things the right way. And we should be thankful and grateful for them. I mean, they're amazing. So, I don't know there's nobody I would put the blame on in this. It was an ugly game for sure. But the last thing I want to do, since I didn't watch the whole game, and it's just one loss in a tough environment against a tough team, I hate to put the blame on anybody. Specifically. So that's how I'm going to conclude this. By just saying we have to watch more to be able to find out. The rest of the season will be crucial in terms of making that decision. And hopefully, following week 18 or the last playoff game the Steelers are in, hopefully it's the last playoff game because hopefully this team can go to the playoffs and do something special. Hopefully, the team will not be between, the fans and the team will not be between a rock and a hard place in terms of Kenny Pickett for next year. And hopefully we can come to consensus on what we should do with Kenny. But for now, I think the jury's still up in the air. I think you still have half that say he should stay, half that say he should go, and still a small percentage, like myself. I mean, if you look at a pie graph, 100%. I'd say right now 45% think he should stay, and he might be the franchise guy. 45% think he should go, he's not the franchise guy. 10% think that we don't know. I fall into that 10% because I truly don't know. I don't have an opinion. I'd have to watch more, evaluate more to truly decide. I know today didn't work in our favor, but one thing I am tired of is winning games Cleveland won how they won it today. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of winning games. Obviously, the goal is to win every game and to win a Super Bowl. However, I hate how it comes down against teams like Tennessee, who's now 3-7, Green Bay, who's now 4-6, to the last 20 seconds at home, to the last 20 seconds of the game, when the opponent is in the red zone, and you have to rely on a turnover to win a football game. And the defense is going much better at that. Thank goodness for that defense. But I think we need to start getting back to the philosophy where it's okay to not make things interesting. It's okay to just blow out teams. And I know that's what we're trying to do, but it hasn't been working as of late. Something needs to happen. I think the buck stops, or I think it all starts with the coordinator. You can't blame one person. There's 11 men on the field, but one man is calling the plays for those 11 men. And that man is Matt Canada. So we'll see what happens the rest of the year. Anyway, though, that's all I have for this one. Next week's game will be Sunday, November 26th at 1 o'clock p.m. in Cincinnati against the Cincinnati Bengals. Definitely an interesting game for sure. Jake Browning will be the starting quarterback for Cincinnati. Talented Joe Burrow might be out, but talented playmakers such as Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, those guys will not be out. Defense is impressive for sure for Cincy. Will definitely be a tough one for sure. Interesting game coming in the jungle next week, so we'll definitely be on that one. Hopefully a better outcome for sure. Anyway, that's all I have for you guys today. Have a good evening, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. Enjoy yourselves. Happy Thanksgiving. Pray for Israel. And as always, peace. See you guys next week.